Okay, another easy design I'm going to show you is the quick snowman. So usually what I'll do for snowman is just half circles. I'm just going to do a 2-circle one, and the easiest way for drawing your circles is to take out your washable marker, take out your kite string or whatever sinew, whatever you want, but tie it onto your marker, and then you use that to draw your half circles. So what I did is just kind of did a little guess of where I want my snowman to start. So I'm going to start out by putting the dot down there, and then I got my finger right here on the edge of the t-shirt holding that string nice and tight. Then go out to the length of the string and you get a nice half circle. And I'm not going to take this all the way down because now we're going to come down here, and you have to kind of play with this and figure out where is the best place for your snowman. But I'm going to go right here, right from that line, and make a nice big snowman on here. So now that you have your 2 circles on there, the next thing you can do is draw in your eye. I'll draw in a little diamond shape here. You can draw in another one for the nose, and then you can draw in a few for the mouth. We'll just do some round ones for the mouth here, like little chunks of coal. And how about we'll do a couple buttons for the snowman. So there's my snowman. Like I say, this is just a quick, easy one. If you want more detailed one, you can do a stitched one, and then for that one I'll usually put in arms, and you can even put a hat in there and everything. But for just this quick one, what I'll usually do is fold the bottom circle first and just do accordion fold on it. And right here, you got to kind of do a little extra fold in here. But basically, let's see if I can zoom in and show what I'm doing here. So at the end of this snowman here, I ended this run of accordion folds with this last one where the string is going down, and then I'm going to take this other one, the new line coming up, and I'm going to fold that up and around. So I'm going to match this line up with this line right here, if you can see that. And that just allows me to continue around this sharp fold here. So once I straighten this out, I'll see if I can show you what I did there. Okay, so now this fold, if you can see here, is just like that. So that I lay that along there, and now I can continue folding along this edge right here that I had already started. Okay, now we'll tie that off. Handy dandy kite string. Okay, now all of these other things here, the the eyeball, what I'm going to do is just do a quick little accordion fold on it. So I'm just going to fold that in half and then just go back and forth here and fold that eyeball up, the little diamond shape, and then I'm going to tie that off. And sometimes it's easiest just to take your string, start your knot on there, and then put it over top, and then tighten that down. And then I'll tie a couple more knots in it just to keep it steady. So there's the eyeballs. I'm going to do the same thing for the nose. So anytime I have a similar type pattern, you can just fold that in half, just line your parts up, and then you can fold that up pretty easy. Once again, I'm just going to get a pre-start on my knot here. And then just do a couple quick folds on that. There's his nose. And then I'll do each one of his things for his mouth here. Yeah, and these ones I don't try to do any special folding on them. You just gather that little bit up and put some string around it and tie it off. 'Cause I'm not worried about trying to keep that a specific shape. I just want it to be a round black dot, and that's what we'll have. Okay, so there is the mouth. Now I'm going to do these buttons, and once again just the same way here. I'll start a knot, so now we have this snowman. This hair's all going to be white, so I'm just going to bunch this up. We'll tie this up a little bit tighter just to try to contain it. And keep all of those separate so we can get dye put on all the parts. So whenever I have a t-shirt folded in half, I usually like to just tuck the two sleeves in together, and that just gives me a place to fold these down. So once you get them kind of stacked in together, you just gather them up and you can stuff them right in their own hole here. Scrunch that up, or you can twist it however you want to tighten up, take up some of that excess space. And as I tie this up, I want to make sure that the three buttons that I tied up on the body are going to be easy to get to, and then the same thing with the face. As you tie this up, just make sure that you pull the little bits and nubs and stuff up to the top. And that'll just help keep your snowman a little cleaner if all of the dots are up here ready to take dye. Okay, now we'll just tie the rest of it up, tie it off. And there is the snowman. So let me make sure I have the dye that I need, and then I'll be back to dye this. Okay, here we are. So these are the buttons down here. So I'm going to dye all of those in black. So these would be his buttons of coal. And usually what I'll do is just kind of give them a squeeze, just to kind of get the dye all the way down in there. You gotta be careful. I've already touched here and got a little bit of white or black on my snowman. It happens. Sometimes you can scrub a little bit of it away by putting some water on there. Thin it out just a little bit. But anyway. So we'll just get all of these little buttons dyed. Okay, and now I'm going to outline it just because I like to outline all of my designs. So I use the black dye on here and go right along that crease. And since this is the thicker dye on more fabric, I like to poke that in with a cuticle pusher just because the thick dye doesn't sink in as deep as regular dye does. So on any areas that are thicker, it needs to be pushed in just a little bit, just to have more saturation. Okay, and then I'm going to wet this down with this thick water, because as I put dye on this side here, I don't want the snowman, which I want white, to draw all of that dye into itself. So if I put water on here, then that cuts down on any of that wicking action that happens. It just comes down to the liquid tries to equalize itself throughout the fabric. So if one part of the fabric is drier than the rest, then the dye is going to be pulled in that direction. So by using thick water, you can stop that dye from moving in that fashion. Still takes some practice. You still can't put too much dye on and expect it not to move around. So you still have to be careful on how you apply your dye and how much. But this is just one of the things that will help keep your white areas white. And then I'm going to dye the rest of the shirt in purple. This purple has been mixed from turquoise and fuchsia, so it's going to bleed out turquoise, and that's kind of what I want. So the main tee is going to be in purple, and then it's going to bleed out into turquoise, and you'll see that in the results here at the end of this video. So I'll leave a little bit of a space there, let the dye creep on its own. And then I'm just going to dye the rest of this. Okay, now I'll touch up just a little bit more here, get it closer to the line. So I'm just tapping, just allowing just a little bit to come out. Okay, and there's your basic, simple snowman tee. I'll have the results here in, well, for you, just a few seconds. But for me, I'm going to let this sit for 48 hours.